Anger management, the price of a second chance. This is the story of a man trying to tame the beast within, and another man determined to poke it. We dive into the murky world of parole, manipulation, and the fight for love, where the line between criminal and lawman blurs until it vanishes completely. Chapter 1. The Nature of the Beast. The film opens not with action, but with a diagnosis. We meet Nick, a guy with serious impulse control issues. In a therapy session, he's hammering a heavy bag, trying to exorcise the demons destroying his life. His therapist corrects him. That's not anger, that is rage. Nick isn't just a thug, he's a man broken by circumstances. In the past, he lost his job after breaking his boss's nose for humiliating him in front of colleagues, but the real crash happened later. In a flashback, we see a fateful night at a high-end restaurant, Le Dome. Nick brought his girlfriend Mel there to propose. It was top tier, foie gras, expensive wine, the kind Nick's dad says knocks you out because you can't afford to drink much of it. But the night was ruined. In the restroom, a drunk patron insulted Mel, calling her a pig. Nick snapped. The result? A brutal beating, a prison sentence, and his marriage hopes destroyed. Now, a year later, Nick is out. He is determined to win Mel back and prove he's changed. He meditates, reads books, and tries to be a Zen master, though his bruised knuckles tell a different story. Chapter 2. The Shadow of the Law. Freedom greets Nick with a harsh reality. Mel lost her apartment because she couldn't make rent without him and is now living in a cramped place with a broken fridge. Nick's dad, living in perpetual mess, suffers from hand tremors and can no longer work, and his insurance won't cover his meds. But the real threat isn't poverty, it's Nick's new parole officer, Chester Ryan. At first glance, Chester is the model citizen and a devoted single dad raising his daughter, Jasmine, after his wife's death. He seems understanding, even friendly. He coincidentally owns the building where Mel lives and, out of the goodness of his heart, brings her groceries, fixes appliances, and even buys her a new fridge. However, the audience quickly realizes Chester is a psychopath. His care is calculated stalking. He knows everything about Mel, her favorite vegetables, her schedule, and even her diagnosis, an eating disorder ED, which she revealed to him in a moment of vulnerability. Chester methodically grooms her, painting Nick as an unstable recidivist. Chapter 3. The Trap Snaps Shut. Chester starts playing cat and mouse with Nick. Abusing his authority, he gets Nick a job with Bobby Nick's old boss. But there's a catch. It's the graveyard shift as a security guard. This isn't accidental. Chester invites Mel to his daughter Jasmine's birthday party. He lies that all the guests caught the flu so he can get Mel alone. Simultaneously, he forbids Nick from leaving his post, threatening to send him back to prison. The party scene is dripping with suspense. Mel arrives at Chester's house expecting a kid's bash, but finds a weird scene. An empty house, booze, and Chester aggressively trying to get her to drink. When daughter Jasmine appears, the child looks terrified and withdrawn. Chester gives her a blank notebook as a gift and acts unnaturally. Nick, sensing something is wrong, abandons his post and rushes to Chester's house. He sees the family tableau through the window and loses it. Chester comes out and provokes him, reveling in his power. Nick barely holds back, but Mel, witnessing his aggression without knowing Chester's manipulation, is disappointed. She tells Nick he hasn't changed and cuts ties. Chester's plan worked perfectly. Chapter 4. The Monster's True Face. Nick hits rock bottom. He's lost Mel, his job, Chester forced Bobby to fire him, and hope. But this is when Chester's mask starts to crack. Chester summons Nick and gloats openly. He claims he slept with Mel and shows a video of Nick fighting in a bar to protect someone. It's a direct parole violation. Chester issues an ultimatum. Nick must disappear from Mel's life or the video goes to the police. But Nick isn't just a brute. He notices holes in Chester's story. Specifically, the strange behavior of the daughter, and the fact that Chester, a civil servant, is throwing money around betting on horses. Nick starts his own investigation. Meanwhile, Chester moves to the next phase. He sabotages Mel's apartment, breaking the pipes. Water floods everything. The place is uninhabitable. Like a knight in shining armor, he offers Mel his guest room while repairs are made. Mel, not seeing the trap and believing Nick is dangerous, agrees. She moves into the beast's lair. Chapter 5: Jasmine's Secret. Nick tries to warn Mel, but she won't pick up. He turns to the only person left who can help his father. Despite their strained relationship and his dad's illness, the old man believes in his son's innocence. Nick gets arrested on false charges assaulting his boss. Bobby Chester actually beat Bobby up to frame Nick. His father posts bail, saving him from jail. Together, they start digging into Chester. Nick uncovers a shocking truth. Jasmine isn't Chester's daughter. The girl's real mother is a drug addict named Jamie Lynn, one of Chester's parolees. Chester abuses his power to blackmail the woman and borrow her child to roleplay as the perfect father to seduce women. Nick and his dad track down Jamie Lynn's apartment. They run into local druggers, leading to a brief skirmish where Nick shows off his fighting skills. Breaking into the apartment, they find Jamie Lynn dead. Overdose? Or did Chester tie up a loose end? There is no doubt now, Mel and little Jasmine are in mortal danger. Chapter 6: The Siege. The finale unfolds at Chester's house. Mel finally starts to see the light. She notices Chester's aggression toward Jasmine when the girl refuses to eat cake inside a closet. Yes, he forced her to hide there. When Mel tries to leave and take the girl, Chester reveals his true colors. He locks them in, takes her phone, and becomes a brutal jailer. Nick and his dad arrive at the house. This isn't just a rescue mission, it's redemption. The father, whose hands shake from his condition, must recall his old skills as a lockpicker. Nick relies on him, trusting him with the most important task, picking the lock on the shed to breach the house. The tension peaks. The dad fumbles with the pick. Bottom, right, click. Hands trembling, Nick nervous, but the old man pulls it off. They get inside. Chaos ensues. Nick finds Mel and Jasmine. He tries to get them out, but Chester appears with a gun. A brutal fight breaks out. Chester, having lost all humanity, is ready to kill everyone. "I'm a cop! Who's gonna believe you, scum?" he screams. But Nick isn't the impulsive kid from the start of the movie. He fights not out of rage, but to protect the ones he loves. In the deciding moment, just when Chester seems to have the upper hand, Nick neutralizes the psychopath. Chapter 7: The Final Inning. Police arrive. Mel's testimony, Jamie Lynn's body, and the exposed corruption and Chester's career and freedom. The officer who loved controlling other lives will now find himself behind bars. The film ends on a high note, symbolizing total healing. The judge signs the papers. Nick is off parole. He is completely free. The final scene takes us to a baseball stadium. Nick, Mel, and his dad are sitting in the stands like a normal, happy family. Nick playfully asks Mel about hot dogs. "Pickles? That's disgusting!" Cracks a joke and wears his baseball cap backward. In this moment, we see his transformation is complete. He learned to manage his rage, found the strength to forgive his father, saved an innocent child, and won back the love of his life. The beast is tamed, and the game goes on. Key plot hooks. Twisted irony. The man meant to monitor criminals, quote, is a far worse criminal than his parolees. Gaslighting masterclass. It brilliantly depicts how Chester drives Mel crazy, making her doubt Nick's sanity even though Nick is the one telling the truth. The prop daughter. The twist with Jasmine is the emotional gut punch. Using another person's child as a prop for dates highlights the antagonist's absolute inhumanity. Father and son, Nick's relationship with his dad evolves from mutual shame to a lock-picking team-up to save a life. The internal war. Nick's main enemy throughout the film isn't just Chester, but his own desire to snap and solve problems with his fists, which is exactly what the villain wants. Nick's victory is learning to use his head, not just his hands. This is a solid thriller that punches above its weight. It keeps the tension high and delivers a satisfying payoff. If you love stories about underdogs fighting against a rigged system, this movie is definitely worth the watch. So, what would you have done in Nick's shoes? Could you have held back your rage while being framed like that? Or would you have snapped way sooner? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to read your take. If you enjoyed this recap, please hit that like button and subscribe. We've got a ton of intense thrillers coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!